It's like a shark, NATO, except with poop.
I'm not happy.
I don't need Elizabeth Warren or the government giving away my money.
Calling Mike Bloomberg an oligarch has implications in this country that I think are unfair and unreasonable.
I care. That's it.
Makes you think of some rich person who got their money off of oil in Russia, who's taking advantage of a broken and dysfunctional system.
Bernie Sanders saying, the country's corrupt, our system's corrupt. Be careful about that language, Bernie. You know, be careful.
Oh, well, I'm sorry.
The nation, Waldorf Nation. Hey everybody, welcome to the show. It's oh god, I don't even know what day it is. Tuesday. Wow, Tuesday. It's only Tuesday. Holy crap. So anyway, welcome to the show. We got a great day and great show for you today. We're gonna have a little bit of fun. We're gonna make fun of Flea and Ted or Cancun Cruz. You know what? I just have to step back and kind of like admit that when it comes to making up names, the Trumps are actually pretty good at that. Yes, they are pretty good at making fun of people, which is ironic because everybody makes fun of them too. But Cancun Cruz, kind of can't go wrong with that one. That was pretty good. So I'm just gonna go with that one. I mean, I like Flying Ted, I like Fleeing Ted, but Cancun Cruz also pretty good. Pretty good. I should set timers. I pressed the wrong button. I got a lot of buttons in front of me, all right? I got like buttons and I got doodads and doohickeys and things, and every once in a while I'll make a mistake. And I will press the wrong button. And it's sad. It's very sad. Very sad when that happens. Again, because I got a lot of buttons in front of me. I got ones that
dumps.
They talk about dumps.
Big massive dumps.
And every once in a while, I will also end up taking a dump by messing up. You know what I'm saying? Not a literal dump, but you know what I'm saying. Shame there's no federal prison, Ted. Yeah, I know. A flea named Ted? What? Is your button bigger than... I've got the biggest button. I've got the greatest button. Like, everybody tells me how big my button actually is. Do I not? I don't need all the buttons. Of course I need all the buttons. You know what would be great is if I could actually get big enough to actually hire someone to press the buttons for me. Oh, that'd be fantastic. But you know what? Maybe eventually we'll get to that point in the show. But we're nowhere near that yet. So, hey, just saying. We could get to some very, very, large numbers, perhaps. Push that subscriber count maybe to 1 million. And then we can, then I can hire people to press the buttons, all the buttons. I do have a Stream Deck XL, actually. Interestingly enough, Scott, I have one of those, and I've got so many buttons on there. All right, and it's just sometimes I press the wrong button. It happens. All right. Anyway, enough pressing, and enough talking about pressing the buttons. We do have a show. Again, we're going to talk about Ted Cruz. We got CPAC, more cancel culture. We've got Rudy Giuliani literally running away from lawsuits. Oh, this is such a good Such a good story. I think you're gonna love that. We got Capitol rioters that are mad, big mad, that people keep blaming what they did on Antifa, and they're not gonna take it anymore, folks. They're not gonna take it anymore. All right, they're mad, very mad, and then I'm gonna get mad at Joe Manchin. So, all right, fun times. Let's dive in. Before we do, of course, please like and share the stream. There's a button that I would like you to press, and it's the like button. So please press that like button. And if you're on YouTube or anywhere else, please press the share button as well. Those are the buttons that you can press to help me as I figure out which buttons I want to press to actually do the show.
Why? You're getting nervous, man.
Yeah. All right. Anyway, did I hear about the UN going after Eric Prince? No, I didn't actually. So I'm gonna check that out after the show and see. I'll look into that and maybe bring that into the show tomorrow. You must not be a gamer. Oh, I'm a gamer and I press the wrong button all the time. Believe me. Proxima Novio, I actually do game. Well, I haven't done a game stream in a long time actually. In probably a month or so, and I should do that at some point. All right. Anyway, diving in. Do it. Wasting too much time. Following the infamous vacation debacle, where, of course, Senator Ted Cruz literally left his state in the cold, in the freezing cold, to head to Cancun, Mexico, take a nice little vacation during the middle of a crisis. Now, we know, of course, it wasn't a pre-planned vacation. We know from some texts, between Heidi Cruz and a number of of their neighbors that, did not have power, didn't have heat. It was, in very cold temperatures. That this was like just like a random, we need to get away. How about Cancun? So now that is something that most regular Texans were not actually able to do. They weren't able to flee to Mexico, ironically, because the Texas infrastructure is so third world and jacked up. And so they weren't able to do that. And the backlash for Ted Cruz and his family fleeing to Mexico, well, it was bad. It was enough to shame him into coming back into the country. And so following that, the senator expressed a little bit of anger at one of his neighbors who leaked those damning chats about the trip to the New York Times. So I'm going to go and I'm going to play you an audio clip here. This is from the Ruthless podcast. So now this is hosted by former Mitch McConnell campaign manager Josh Holmes. And just a side note, right? So I went and looked up the podcast, and maybe it's just me, but it's got a picture kind of like of a court or Supreme Court, whatever, ruthless. And I was like, they're taking cracks at the death of Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Oh, that's super classy, right? So just to kind of show you who these people are. And I remember, keep that in your memory, because I have. When you hear this next clip, when you hear Ted Cruz talking about the civility, why is there no civility? Why are people so mean? Anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me show you that video.
Speaking of investigations earlier, I was wondering if you had been able to, we don't need a specific name, investigated the individual from that text message group who leaked the conversation, because that is just, of all the betrayals.
I would spend time on that. But
I would really, I know some folks I'd put on the case for something like that.
Yeah, I will say Heidi's pretty pissed at that. She actually was over at a neighbor's house yesterday, sort of walking through. So she texted several of our neighbors. Now, look, our neighbors, we've got a number of Republicans who are neighbors, but we also have a number of Democrats. Right. And so, we had folks on our street who put up Beto signs, which I thought was a little rude. But I was, I didn't hold a victory party in their front yards when we won. So, I was.
Oh, yeah, it's Democrats. It's the Democrats. They're a little rude, you know, with the Beto signs and everything like that. My Democrats. Here's the funny thing, right, about that. So you can tell he's feeling a little triggered, right? And he's immediately blaming it on his Democrat neighbors. Let me just say, or just ask, how does it feel overall to know that your neighbors hate you? I mean, it's got to not feel good, right? And here's the thing, and I bet it's not because you're a Republican. He just said, I've got Republican neighbors, I've got Democrat neighbors, all right? I think it doesn't matter because Ted Cruz is literally such a flaming douchebag that even his Republican neighbors probably hate his guts. Nobody likes him, all right? Nobody likes him. And I'm betting that it's not the Democratic neighbors that leaked the text. Although, again, I wouldn't be surprised if it's the case. I think it's just because people just hate you. Because you're just, again, hating Ted Cruz is bipartisan, I think. Outside of politics, he's a human being that nobody wants to be around, right? Nobody actually likes being around Ted Cruz. Okay, he's such a sniveling worm of a human being. It's probably one he would least suspect. Exactly. It's that staunch conservative neighbor that's like, you know, probably one of the housewives or something that's like, you see this shit? You see what Ted's up to? What a jerk. Hating Ted Cruz is as American as apple pie. Yes, true. All right. So anyway. Now he's going to go on about how this is so rude. The people that did it was just absolutely so rude, and that they should just stop being a-holes.
It's a sign of how ridiculously politicized and nasty and just, you know, here's a suggestion: just don't be assholes.
Yeah,
like just, you know, treat each other as human beings. Have some degree, some modicum of respect. Heidi and I have lots of friends who are Democrats, and you know, we'll sort of laugh and say, in fact, one of our friends who are Democrats said yesterday, she said, I can't believe this, I'm defending the right. And I said, that's all right. You know, although I got to warn you, it's dangerous. Once you start doing a little
Once you get
bit,
started,
just start, it's a slippery slope, and come on over. She's like, no.
Oh my God. All right. Okay. Stop being, why you got to be an asshole about that? Why don't you just treat people with humanity and respect? Okay, but you want to talk about respect? You literally fled the state because you didn't have power. Again, this is something that your constituents were not able to do. But instead, you took your family and you're like, oh, let's go to Cancun. You know, we got to get out of this situation. Let's go to Cancun. Of all the places that you could have went, you decided to take your family, and then when you got caught, you threw your family under the bus. Like, you know, what are you gonna do? The kids asked me to go to Cancun. Look at me, I'm Ted Cruz. I'm so relatable. No. Look, again, you fled the state. You left your constituents to deal with it, and only came back because of the backlash, because of these leaked texts. Because of how he was shamed by the media and shamed by AOC, right? AOC, for example, did more for his state than he did during this crisis. She raised millions of dollars to help people get food, blankets, and supplies. What did you do? You fled the state. He only started helping, by the way. And you know, recently, a couple days ago, suddenly now you've got pictures of Ted Cruz going and helping food banks and stuff. Well, it's only, again, because he got shamed, because he was in the middle of a PR nightmare. And so now for Heidi Cruz, he mentioned, oh, she's pissed off, right? Oh, my God, I'm so mad. Well, she was only mad because she had to come back from that vacation. Okay? Not because, you know, they felt compelled to go and serve their constituents. Oh, no. It's because, again, they got outed by one of their neighbors, and it's so mad. It gets them so mad, big mad, right? Heidi Cruz only feels bad for herself. Remember, she is as bad as he is. It's true. So now it gets even better. All right. So look, yes, I'm going to admit I'm a fan of public shaming. Is there a way that you can, go overboard? Of course you can. But in this case, I don't think so. So let me show you an example, right? So now you had the public shaming of Flying Ted, Cancun Cruz, whatever you want to call him. The final bit of public shaming is the hiring of an actual mariachi band to play in front of their house. In fact, let's take a look. They hired a mariachi band. It's so good. So no, not only, okay, what's great about this is not only was there a mariachi band, obviously, just pissing off Ted Cruz because it's funny, but it also went along with a GoFundMe, a fundraiser that is raising money for a local children's hospital. And so actually, sure, is it annoying? Maybe. I mean, unless you really like mariachi music, which is totally fine. But if you're Ted Cruz, you're probably annoyed. But that's okay. It's not actually hurting anybody. And also, you're raising money for a local children's hospital, which is, again, more than what Ted Cruz had been doing. In fact, here's a tweet on that, a statement to go along with that. Senator Cruz, being an amazing dad, totally satirical, by the way, dropped his family off in Cancun in the middle of a major crisis and came back to Texas to continue serving his constituents. We want to thank Senator Cruz for his leadership and pay for an amazing mariachi band to perform for him. No one should go to Cancun and not listen to mariachi. That's funny. Oh, look at that. They brought Cancun to Ted. Since Ted couldn't go to Cancun, they brought Cancun to him. There you go. So, what's funny about this, right? So, you probably noticed in the news, there's been a lot of less reporting about Donald Trump. That's good. In some ways, again, there's important news sometimes about Donald Trump when it comes to his lawsuits, taxes, things that have to do with, for example, the January 6th insurrection. I think that's really important to talk about. But generally, Donald Trump doesn't dominate the news cycle the way that it used to. And so it's kind of like a getting back to normal over the last 4 years, where suddenly you don't have this guy that's choking up the airwaves anymore and constant stories of scandal and tweets and all that. And it makes it so these kinds of stories come back, right? They kind of stand out more than they had over the last 4 years. It means that, you have people like Ted Cruz who do something ridiculous that actually get called out again. And I bet he misses that. He misses that news cycle. People like Ted Cruz, they miss it. Oh my God, this, if this were 6 months ago, this story would get buried under the just deluge, just avalanche of Trump shit that the news would be talking about. Now I can't even take a vacation in the middle of a crisis anymore. What are you going to do? I mean, at least politicians, the Republicans, can't get away with what they did for the last 4 years. Democrats, unfortunately, some of them tend to get more of a pass now that the news cycle pays less attention. But at least, people like Ted Cruz, at least they get the media attention that they now solely deserve for their corruption. All right. Moving on, let's go to cancel culture. I always love these ironic stories. It appears this year's CPAC conference is going to feel a little emptier. No, it's not just a result of coronavirus, which of course makes every conference feel a little empty because you can't actually be there in person. But no, that's not what I'm talking about. Actually, this year's theme is ironically about cancel culture. The irony, of course, comes from this year's CPAC actually canceling one of its speakers. Oh, it's so good. Apparently, this speaker, who has gone unnamed, is being canceled because of abhorrent views. Again, very ironic because you can see the literal advertisement is America Uncanceled. Whoops. So now let me read the tweet here from CPAC. We have just learned that somebody we invited to CPAC has expressed reprehensible views that have no home with our conference or our organization. The individual in question will not be participating at our conference. Well, now, who is it? Oh, well, we don't really know. But early in the day, CPAC did cancel somebody named Young Pharaoh. Now, who is this person? I've never heard of this person before. Okay, well, apparently this person, Young Pharaoh, had a history of making wildly anti-Semitic claims. In fact, he had called Judaism a complete lie, which is kind of odd. So now, look, you guys know me. I'm an atheist. I don't believe in a religion. So I would consider all religions kind of a lie. That said, as long as you don't hurt anybody with your belief systems, I'm totally fine with you actually having those belief systems. You're a Christian. You don't you don't hurt other people with your belief systems. Totally fine, right? And so I'm not like one of the militant atheists out there who's like, no, you should believe in anything. You believe whatever you want, as long as you don't hurt anybody with it. Again, I don't believe in any of these religions, so I would consider them all kind of a lie. But this guy, I have a feeling that that's not his position, because he's uniquely going after Jewish people. And so, not good. Not good. So now he says that all the censorship and pedophilia on social media is being done by that particular group. So, great. Obviously, hugely anti-Semitic. But here's the thing. Conservatives, CPAC, I thought you didn't partake in cancel culture. I mean, didn't like Matt Gaetz or Jim Jordan say that cancel culture was the biggest problem facing this country? Not the coronavirus, not poverty, not endless warfare, but cancel culture. People getting booted off of Space Western, or getting their account kicked off of blocked or whatever off Twitter. That's that's the real problem. That's the real problem in this country. It's cancel culture, right? Okay, then. I'm just sensing a bit of hypocrisy. All right, I'm just saying. And just a note, right? There are other speakers that are not canceled that have abhorrent views, including, by the way, Donald Trump, who has peddled just abhorrent conspiracy theories. For example, as I said, Trump incited people to go and invade the Capitol building and smash windows, smear feces, beat up, and even kill cops, right? You also have somebody like Wayne Dupree. Wayne Dupree is a Sandy Hook truther. He says, the crisis actors, right? All right, well, what about Jim Jordan? Jim Jordan, who was accused of covering up for a sexually abusive doctor when he was a wrestling coach at Ohio State, among many others. If you're going to cancel one person for having really bad views, then you might as well cancel CPAC overall, because guess what? Everybody there kind of has bad views. I mean, they're all kind of shit. All right. But hey, I guess we finally found where the line is, and it's anti-Semitism. I mean, that said, it's really open anti-Semitism they don't like. When it comes to the far right, closeted anti-Semitism, that's totally fine with them. I mean, again, if you drill deep down enough into the beliefs of a lot of right-wingers, member of the far right, and why they hate the government, and why they hate the media, and why they even hate the banks, what always ends up coming back to the Jewish conspiracy. Furthermore, there are a lot of evangelicals, far-right evangelicals, that only tolerate Jewish people because of Israel being, being involved in their end times conspiracy theory, okay, where they believe that they are going to get vacuumed up into heaven by Jesus at the same time that everybody else on earth who's left dies a horrible death, which includes, of course, Jewish people. I mean, yeah, again, sorry to get a little dark there, but that's generally what a lot of these people tend to believe. And so that's why I got a real big problem with a lot of the right wing in general for pushing these ridiculous conspiracy theories. And in fact, yeah, one of you just mentioned in the chat here, the conspiracy theory of, California wildfires pushed by Marjorie Taylor Greene. Wildfires, being caused by Jewish lasers, space lasers. Really? But again, it always comes back to them. It's the oldest conspiracy theory in the book. Literally, going back thousands of years, people like to blame Jewish people. Strange. But anyway, enough with the darkness. Let's get to fun tweets, all right, about this. Because the irony didn't go unnoticed on social media for, this America Uncanceled canceling people. So let's go to one response here from Ted Lieu, who says, "Dear CPAC, are you referring to the reprehensible view that the election was stolen? Or find 11,780 votes in Georgia? Or to stand by a white nationalist group? So many to choose from. So many to choose from." So true. Another person adds, "It's CPAC, so I assume they mean somebody accidentally said kids shouldn't starve or something. Oh, it's those reprehensible views." Right. Another person says, "Views too reprehensible for CPAC? Please tell us more." I'm not sure I want to know, but we do. It's anti-Semitism, at least open. Another person says, "If expressing reprehensible views is the standard, you might as well just show cartoons for 3 days, because there won't be anyone qualified to participate." And then one person adds, and this is the best one. I love this. "Is this cancel culture?" I love it. So good. All right. Moving on. Let's go to Giuliani. Former Trump attorney Rudy Giuliani is being sued by Dominion Voting Systems. So Dominion, of course, which manufactures voting equipment used by some 40% of the country. That's a lot. Let's be honest. Now, they have been serving lawsuits to people over the spread of the big lie. That's the lie related, of course, to the 2020 election, how Biden didn't actually win, that it was, Biden that stole it, and it's Trump actually won. And somehow the Dominion with the ghost of Hugo Chavez and all of them conspired, got together, and I'm sure there are other countries in there that are involved, probably China, all got together to deny Donald Trump the victory that he so well deserved. That's the conspiracy theory, right? That's the big lie. And it has to do with these voting machines, and Rudy Giuliani, Sidney Powell, Mike Lindell, the My Pillow guy. They're all out there saying, "Oh yeah, no, that's what happened. That's what happened." Now, here's the thing about Rudy. Okay, so Rudy's getting sued, and just like Sidney Powell, you remember Sidney Powell, how I reported that she was, she was pretty hard to find. Let's just say that when they were trying to serve her that lawsuit notice, right? They're trying to serve her the papers. We learn now that Rudy Giuliani also tried running away. In fact, this according to the New York Daily News, they reported that Giuliani had actually managed to hide from Dominion's process servers for several days before they finally caught up with him and delivered Dominion's 107-page lawsuit into his hands. Dominion attorney Tom Clare told the Daily News, quote, after not responding to requests to waive service, Mr. Giuliani evaded in-person service process for nearly a week. Oh, man. So he's running away. He's running away. Lindell did get served. I'll get to that. So, in fact, they said, quote, it took numerous attempts at both his home and office before we were able to successfully serve Mr. Giuliani on February 10th. So Giuliani is Mr. Running Man. Now, Claire added that Mr. Giuliani's repeated false claims about Dominion have been immeasurably damaging. This servicer process is one more step towards forward in our pursuit of justice. Now, look, before I get to any more details, right, I just got to mention that just like in the case of Lindell and Powell, Dominion has an incredibly good case against him. Giuliani, of course, lied. He told multiple lies about the election, pushed this election conspiracy numerous times. You can go. There's videotapes. He's on Fox News. He's talking about this. And that's why Fox News is not going to bring him on anymore. Because Fox News also got threatened, and they're also being sued by Smartmatic, which is another voting election company that does voting software that has been wrapped up in this big lie. And so now the evidence is pretty overwhelming. Even when he was told, hey, look, you need to stop talking about that, okay? You need to stop saying these things. This is defamatory. These are lies. Every, credible agency has deemed that this election was completely fair. There was, no changing the votes. There's no evidence of that. Didn't matter to him. He kept saying it. He kept pushing it like, no, trial by combat. And again, he was there during the January 6th insurrection attempt and had actively, in his speeches, in his rhetoric, had helped incite the crowd. So just say it. Open and shut, okay? Now, since it is open and shut, Rudy Giuliani is now running away like a bitch. And it's funny. In fact, literally running away. One source tells the Daily News that Giuliani at one point saw a process server approaching him, which caused him to rush to his car, slam the door, as a process server had lunged forward with a bag full of documents. So, it's not like, oh, yeah, I was so busy. I'm traveling the country and I'm doing all this stuff. And I'm so incredibly busy. I'm doing my job. I'm a lawyer. I'm not in one place long enough for you to serve me. What can you do? I'm so glad you finally caught up to me. I'm really looking forward to challenging this ridiculous lawsuit in court. No, it's like, oh shit, he's coming. Go. All right, drive. Get us out of here. Go. I don't want to get served. He got served. Oh my God. It's like Donald Trump dodging his creditors. Just can't do it. Oh my God. You realize, though, that's not actually how it works. I mean, Rudy Giuliani is supposed to be a lawyer. You're supposed to know that that you can't just avoid a lawsuit by not showing up, by not getting served. All right? That's not how it works. The lawsuit will go on even if you don't have the papers. It seems like to me just like a formality. Like, by the way, this is a copy of the lawsuit. This is what we're suing you for. So here's how you can set up your own defense. And he's like, nope. Running away. And so the interesting thing here is that reaction. All right. So Sidney Powell, again, also ran. And Rudy Giuliani, both together, they know they're full of shit. They have a background in law. They don't actually believe this. There was no Kraken. You know what was there instead of a Kraken? A dead stinky fish. All right. But what they did, these two people took is a calculation. And that calculation was, of course, based on, hey, if I get in trouble, that's okay. Donald Trump's going to be the president. So he's either going to win, or if I get in trouble, he's going to pardon me. right? If I get in any sort of legal trouble, at least with the federal government, if not, he's going to step in, and don't worry, he's going to protect me because I'm his friend. Well, now, he also probably thought that he would be successful at, overturning the election. Donald Trump would be the president, and therefore he also uses presidential powers to protect him in any sort of way. Instead, that's not happening. And Sidney Powell and Rudy Giuliani and Mike Lindell, they're now facing personal consequences. All right. Again, Sidney Powell was sued. Rudy Giuliani was fired, no longer works for Donald Trump, and has been sued. And now he's not getting his $20,000 a day. Oh, that sucks. And Trump himself, by the way, it's also not doing well for himself. He has barely survived an unprecedented second impeachment, despite it being the most bipartisan impeachment in U.S. history. He had his Twitter taken away, and now he's facing numerous investigations into his finances, and into things like, these are criminal investigations into tax fraud, racketeering, etc. And so they're not doing all that well. Now, the difference here, as I kept getting around to, is Mike Lindell. Mike Lindell's been served. Mike Lindell didn't run away. Why? I found that very curious. It's because Mike Lindell is a true believer. Yes, Lindell has lost, you understand, he's lost millions of dollars. And I'm not saying this to feel bad for him, right? He's lost millions of dollars in advertising and revenue. I don't think he can sell enough pillows to Trump supporters, to MAGA, unless you got one family buying a stack of pillows. Maybe they need a stack because I hear they're so, incredibly uncomfortable and poorly made. But I just don't think that there's enough pillows. I don't think he can sell enough pillows to make up for what he's losing in advertising and revenue in stores that will no longer carry his product because of his association with the January 6th riots, as well as, of course, the entire election conspiracy nonsense he's been putting out. And so for him, he is a true believer. He's lost personally and business-wise for Trump because he believes in this election conspiracy. And now he's being sued for, $1.3 billion. He didn't run and hide from the lawsuit. No, he looks forward to it. He's like, yeah, I got the truth on my side. Well, he doesn't. But the guy's literally asking to be sued. He was. You really can't ask for a better representation of the Trump inner circle than these three. You got the grifters, and then you got the two true believers. If you're not one of the grifters, well, it turns out you're one of the marks. Though you do kind of hand it to him. He's like, yeah. I'm looking forward to this lawsuit. I got a movie. All right. Pillow guy is off the chart crazy. True believer. You got to be crazy. All right. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take a quick break here. We're going to come back. We've got furious Capitol rioters. They're mad that Antifa keeps taking the spotlight, the limelight off of them. Fun times. And then we're going to switch gears, and I'm going to go after Joe Manchin. So stay right here. A couple of minutes. We'll be back with me pushing the wrong button. We'll be back with more show, or stay right here.
Give me a break.
Tighten up my meat. I like my meat tight.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. Around the nation right here, Waldorf Nation. Jeff Waldorf here with you. All right, so let's see. A lot of interesting comments from you. So I want to read some of those. Barley Hop 67 says, my pillow guy was lied to. His defense won't hold up. It's true. He doesn't have a defense. But he literally believes that, no, I got the evidence. I got the evidence. Do you see? Do you see? In my poorly made movie? Yeah, we see it, but it's not actually evidence. It doesn't hold up. Yeah. How much do you charge per pillow? What is it, like $40 a pillow? I'm not sure, but it's too much. It's too much for that pillow. So, all right. Let's go to Twitch here. Thanks some Twitch members. Let's see. I want to thank SBloom85 and Fugly Pug for subscribing with Prime. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. 4 months, Scott. Thank you. And Fugly Pug also for the 2nd month on Prime. So give me those Bezos bucks. Much appreciated. $40 for a pillow. $100? I don't know. I'm going to have to look up his prices now. I've never had any sort of interest in looking up like the prices for my pillow because it's just, they're terrible. All right. Anyway. Oh, nice to see you too, Sandy. Thank you. Welcome to the stream. All right. See what we got here on YouTube. The tubes. All right. Let's move on. Let's go to the Capitol rioters. Following the deadly January 6th Capitol insurrection, conservative pundits have either downplayed the damage or that had happened to the Capitol or the attack itself, or they've begun blaming others for this. Mainly Antifa and Black Lives Matter. Oh, well, okay, well, that's interesting. That's very interesting. So now this event, of course, ended up leaving hundreds of people injured, as well as 6 people. 6 people ended up dying, 2 from suicide. 1 police officer was beaten to death, as well as you had 1 woman, one of the insurrectionists, who was shot by a police officer. So now the blaming, though, of this person, Ashley Babbitt, for example, who was a victim of this, who did, participate in this riot. Well, apparently she, according to these conservative pundits, was secret Antifa all along. Antifa all along. You the Agatha all along music. I have been watching a lot of WandaVision. Sorry. Good show. So now this secret Antifa conspiracy that's going wrong, the right wing, that's got a lot of the actual insurrectionists that are pretty pissed off about it. One of them is Jose Padilla. Now, Jose Padilla faces several charges, including felony counts of obstruction of law enforcement during a civil disorder and assault on a law enforcement officer with a deadly or dangerous weapon. Federal officials say he pushed up against a police line while wearing a scuba mask and shoved officers trying to stop the pro-Trump mob from storming the Capitol. He also helped rioters use a giant metal-framed Trump sign as a battering ram against officers on the police line and threw a flagpole at officers trying to keep the mob out of the building. So obviously, very violent, very dangerous, kind of unhinged, but worst of all, seems to be pretty proud of it. Proud of course, doing violence based on an unhinged conspiracy theory, but worst of all, again, just proud of it. And so when you're proud of something that you've done, you're going to go, if you're one of these people, and brag online, which I'm assuming has something to do with why he was caught in the first place. Just saying. All right. So now, Padilla first then went to the website, thedonald.win. Ironic name, right? which was created after the subreddit R the Donald was placed in restricted mode last year, as well as to Facebook, because of course, to brag about his actions on that day to his friends. Now, look, I say Facebook, of course, because let's be honest, Facebook has been taken over largely by conservatives. I love you all on Facebook, but progressives are fairly outnumbered there, I believe. And so that's why I say that. So he goes to openly brag on Facebook as well as other places on the internet about this. And here's what he said, quote, "There's a lot of memes and posts flying around saying the people who were fighting last night were all antifa provocateurs, etc. I just want to say that as a first-hand observer," he says he's an observer, "of every point of last night, that it was not Antifa. They were patriots who were trying to restore the republic after being attacked by the cops who struck first." After they let you in. It's curious that you would say that. Oh, you know what, though? You know what else is curious? That sounds a lot like something an Antifa person would write. You know what I'm saying? He continues. Even those who broke the windows next to the doorway of the Capitol were patriots trying to find a way to turn the flanks to the cops. The patriots. Patriots. Now, on the online forum, the Donald.win, Padilla also wrote about his involvement in the attack, saying that he pushed the rails, pushed the stairs, and pushed the doorway. Quote, "I was beaten unconscious twice, sprayed more times than I care to count, received strikes from batons that should have been lethal, multiple temple and carotid strikes, except that God was on my side." Okay, look. Here's the thing. All right. Is he like some sort of superhuman? Or maybe is the kind of lying and embellishing just a little bit? "Well, I was beaten several times, but I got up by the grace of God. You know, like I got up and I started fighting again." What? The Spirit of Jesus, you don't understand. Spirit of Jesus cast raise on me, or revive. I got hit with a revive spell from Jesus because he can do that. And then I'm back in the fight, guys. I'm back in the fight. No. Again, don't get me wrong. It was a dangerous situation. People did get hurt. People died. Okay. I'm not minimizing the danger here. All right. But again, this feels like slight embellishment. Like, look at me. I'm the Patriots patriot. I'm the best. Come on. I'm just saying. All right. Anyway, now Padilla had been continuing to correct the record about the Antifa, right? Here's what he said. "Honestly, the guy breaking the windows weren't Antifa. They were patriots trying to find a new way so we could flank the cops who were holding the doorway." But again, he's not the only person who corroborated the accounts, right? And who said, no, it's not Antifa. It's all of us. We did it. We're Trump supporters and we were proud of it. So now, here's another one, Jonathan Mellis, who told his friends on Facebook, quote, "Don't you dare try to tell me that people are blaming this on Antifa and BLM. We proudly take responsibility for storming the castle. Antifa and BLM are too pussy. We are fighting for election integrity. They hurt us." Oh, they sure did. Yep. Another one. This is Ryan Nichols, another insurrectionist. "Listen up. I hear so many reports of Antifa was storming the Capitol building. Know that every single person who believes that narrative has been duped again." Ironic. Oh, God, ironic. "Sure, there may have been some Antifa in D.C., but there wasn't enough to storm the Capitol themselves." Another person, Brandon Straka, a Stop the Steal organizer with ties to Trump, who was charged last month. Here's what he said. "It was not Antifa at the Capitol. It was freedom-loving patriots who were desperate to fight for the final hope of our republic because literally nobody cares about them. Everyone can denounce them. I will not." Nobody cares. Oh my God. You notice how like they call themselves silent generation, right? And I'm sure that has to do with like more of in actuality like an actual demographic, the demographic that voted for Trump overwhelmingly. But again, they all call themselves silent or oppressed or repressed for some reason. They're not. They're not repressed. They're the loudest motherfuckers in the room. I mean, you can't swing a dead cat without hitting like a Trump supporter that's screaming about how uncool and unfair society is today because they have to use a gender pronoun. They don't shut up. They never shut up. And here's the thing, we got two political parties that bend, especially one political party that definitely is them, bows to everything they say, and another political party that's like, oh man, we should reach out to Trump supporters. What are you talking about? They're not a majority of the country. They're a tiny, shrieking minority. But they're so, you know what? You've all heard the saying, the squeaky wheel gets grease, right? Well, they've gotten all the grease, all of it, because they're so goddamn loud. They won't ever shut up. And so, yes, everybody cares too much about them. You know why? Because the people in the crowd, they were not, understand that there is this narrative going around that they were, oh, they're working class folks, right? They're not. People there, business owners, police officers, ex-military, okay? And, you know, people with $300 million, okay, private jets. These are the people that stormed the Capitol that day, all right? This is not a working class revolt. No, the working class is too busy trying to survive through coronavirus because we weren't getting any help. But this was not about $2,000 stimmy checks, okay? This wasn't about being forgotten. No. Everybody knows who they are and caters endlessly to them. And it is frustrating. It is incredibly frustrating. So, okay. Anyway, moving on. So now this is funny because, again, that conspiracy is going around. It's been spread by Donald Trump, who said, I heard Antifa was in the crowd, right? You also had numerous pro-Trump politicians. I think it was Ron Johnson that had floated this conspiracy in Congress as well. Oh, you know, I heard it was Antifa that was there. And then, of course, you had right-wing media figures that are saying the same thing. But what's interesting is that those people were also egging on the crowd, inciting for months and months and months people to go out to the Capitol and overturn the results of an election. But now they're like, that must have been Antifa. Come on. And here's the thing. It's funny because they're throwing every single one of these, I like to call them true believers, under the bus. I mean, they really are, because number one, all these people that have been spreading, that are now talking about how it's Antifa, they knew the truth and they lied shamelessly, right? And number two, they don't actually give one shit about the people that follow them. And they know that they can use them to blame the people that they don't like, BLM and Antifa. It is true. And for all the true believers, understand this. They don't like you. They despise you. You're nothing more than a mark, a patsy, a useful idiot to these people. Look at how fast they turned on you. On a dime. And yet you think you're some sort of patriot if you're part of this group, if you storm the Capitol. In reality, you know, you're the opposite. Try to stop a legitimate election because you believe in conspiracy theories that they knew were false. And they continue to spread because they wanted you mad, they wanted you angry, and they didn't want you using your brain, your critical thinking skills. And now, ironically, you have become part of a conspiracy, their conspiracy. As far as MAGA is concerned, you are dead to them. Because you, who put yourself on the line, put your body in the line because you felt like you were doing the right thing. Now to them, you're secret Antifa. It would be sad if this literally were not so dangerous. All right. Moving on. One more story here. I'm going to rage at Joe Manchin. Senator Joe Manchin doesn't believe that you should have a living wage. Now, that is, of course, despite the fact that since he represents West Virginia, West Virginians desperately need and deserve higher wages. So now that Democrats control the House and the Senate, as well as the presidency, progressives have been pushing to double the minimum wage from $7.25 an hour to about $15 an hour, and putting it into a coronavirus relief package that they can pass through budget reconciliation, meaning they don't need to actually have 60 votes. They can pass it with a simple majority. Well, fantastic. That would be great. Now, unfortunately, Joe Manchin is a Democrat, and he says, no way, I'm not going to vote for a $15 minimum wage. $15 is too much. Damn it. In fact, he told CNN on Monday that he would push an amendment to cut the $15 federal minimum wage proposal down to $11 an hour. So now, right about the time that this happens, you have a bunch of Republicans led by Mitt Romney. These are the supposed, centrist, moderate, reasonable Republicans, right? They actually put their own proposal forward to raise the minimum wage as well. Oh man, well, look at that. Republicans in favor of raising the minimum wage. Their solution is to raise it to $10 an hour. Joe Manchin, supposed to be a Democrat, $11 an hour. He's only $1 better than Republicans. And by the way, if $15 an hour is also not enough. But it's a good floor. It's a good baseline to then raise it even further to the point of where it should without having massive economic shocks. All right? And so that should be the plan, to get it up to where it should be, 23, 24, and tie it to inflation and all that stuff. And so, anyway, now Manchin told CNN that if the chamber's parliamentarian rules that the proposed Raise the Wage Act of 2021 qualifies under reconciliation, there can therefore be included in the final package, he will amend it to $11 an hour. So what's his reasoning, right? I mean, look, if parliamentarian says yes to this, why not say yes to $15 an hour, right? Why can't we do 15? Well, I mean, again, like $15 is the floor. In reality, as I mentioned, wages should be a lot higher. $15 an hour is really the compromise position. And so why should we compromise to do less? Why should we compromise on a compromise? We shouldn't. We shouldn't. And if you ask Joe Manchin that, he's not going to have any answers to you. And he's also not going to have any answers of why only 11. He just says this: we can do 11 in 2 years and be in a better position that they're going to be in 15 with 5 years. What does that even mean? I know what that means. It means he's lying to you. He's gaslighting you. All right. So hold on here. And let me explain why. All right. The Raise the Wage Act, reintroduced last month, this is what this is based on, would gradually phase in $15 a federal minimum wage over the next 4 years. Under the proposed phase-in structure, $7.25 federal minimum wage would be raised to $9.50 by the end of 2021, so this year. It will be raised to $11 by next year and $15 by 2025. So Manchin says, oh, no, if we do my plan, we'll get to $11 sooner, and therefore that's going to help more people. In reality, that's not what happens. It's actually not faster. So, come on. Again, complete lies. Complete lies. All right, so now Representative Mondaire Jones, here's what he said about Manchin's plan. He was not happy about it. Quote, "This is unacceptable. The $15 minimum wage is overwhelmingly popular with the American people. One person should not be allowed to hold relief hostage." But unfortunately, that's what's going on. Joe Manchin is basically the swing vote. That sucks. That sucks. He's the moderate middle, right? Supposedly the Democratic Party. In reality, he's a rhino, or a dino, I should say, a Democrat in name only. He's very, very conservative. And what sucks is that, look, West Virginia, not to blame, right? But they had 2 chances to vote Manchin out. They had a progressive, Paula Jean Swearengin, ran an incredibly good campaign. Very strong progressive. They didn't vote for her. They voted for Joe Manchin. This is the result. And that sucks because it turns out that, look, West Virginia is massively in need of progressive policies. According to data from 2017, 23% of the state's workforce is employed in low-wage jobs. These are the jobs that make minimum wage, all right? This was pre-COVID, by the way, so it's probably even worse now with so many people losing their jobs. And add in the fact, of course, the fact that we're always calling essential workers, the grocery store, clerks, the stockers, the people that work in fast foods, we're calling them heroes because they do such essential work and they allow society to function, and that they're so essential that we couldn't shut them down even in a pandemic. And yet these people are still the least paid workers in the country. Servers still make $2.13 an hour. That's their minimum wage. And so there's a bit of a disconnect when you think about it. All right. But look, some of you might be saying, Jeff, I understand you're making a good point, but $15 an hour, that's still too much. I mean, West Virginia is going to get thrown completely out of whack. That's going to be a problem. And I think that the West Virginians, they can get by with $11 an hour and it'll be okay, because $15 an hour too quickly, too fast, too much, is just going to destroy small business, it's going to destroy the economy. Well, that's not true. In fact, the estimated living wage, this is to live without having to rely on the government for benefits, okay? For an adult with no children, no dependents in West Virginia is actually around just above $14 an hour. That's how much it costs to live in West Virginia with no kids. If you have children, obviously you're going to need more. And so it is actually expected to be well above $15 an hour, perhaps more, by 2025. So yeah, West Virginia is an incredibly cheap place to live, by the way, comparative to national standards. And so even when you look at that, and you look at how much it takes to live in West Virginia, you can see that it's clearly $11 is not enough. Nowhere near enough in West Virginia or anywhere else. So as for, the argument that higher wages, raising the minimum wage destroys the economy, kills jobs, there's no truth to that. All right, we've raised wages countless times over the decades with practically no ill effects. Actually ends up helping the economy at large because guess what? Turns out people have more money to spend. There's no $20 cheeseburgers. All right. Cheeseburgers still pretty cheap. And in countries that actually have higher minimum wages, by the way, cheeseburgers still pretty cheap. All right. At most, the cost of an item increase to 15, if the workers are paid $15 an hour, is like a few cents at most. And so I don't know. I would say that I'm more than happy to pay that if the money actually goes to working people so that they can survive without needing to use government benefits as a subsidy, as they do now, which actually cost taxpayers more in the long run. So in the end, raising the wages is good for the economy. It's good for the government because there's more tax revenue. People are making more money. And then you have less welfare going out as well. And it's even good for corporations because working class people with more money tend to actually spend that money in establishments. And so it's kind of a win-win situation. Unless, of course, you're Joe Manchin. And let's be honest, I think he's only stepping in the way of this stuff because he wants people to kiss his ass, because he wants to be, he wants to feel important. It's all about his vanity, and it's all about, of course, being, conservative. How about the people making $15 need a raise also? It's true. You do. Again, that should be the floor, And, you know, I've read stories of where there are companies that with a higher minimum wage, everyone else got a raise as well. So a rising tide tends to lift all boats. And that's how you have to look at it. All right. So that's all I got for you guys today. Thank you for going around the nation. Please like and share this stream. Also, subscribe if you haven't already. Share, like, and share our videos as well. This is America. We would need price protections because all you know, if companies have to pay more on their employees, they will raise prices on products. But that's what I was saying. Even when you raise prices on the products, and there are studies, Mr. Elder, to point this out, where even if they did spread the cost of a $15 minimum wage at McDonald's to all the products, the prices of those products would only go up a few cents. So it's really interesting how that works out. But I've talked about minimum wage in the show for years, for a long time. And so, you know, I've seen and I've talked about those studies before. America needs a maximum wage and things start to change. You saw my Jesse Ventura video, didn't you? Where he was calling for a maximum wage. And I thought that was a good idea, an excellent, suggestion as well. All right. Do we need $20? We do. We can't stop at 15. We have to continue going further. All right. Let's see. The point is the corporations get to use government programs to supplement and make more profits. 100% true. 100% true. This is what they're doing right now. They pay such low wages that the government benefits subsidize those people's lives, their workers' lives, essentially, so they don't have to pay those higher wages. And they should have to pay those higher wages. All right. Like I said, please like and share the stream. Like and share our videos. Very helpful if you do so. Oh, by the way, I have a super chat here. Let me see that. In the message. Oh, come on. Got a couple of super chats that I want to read here real quick before I go. Oh, of course they disappear. Of course. Love it. Hey, how's it going? Pretty good. Pretty good. Thank you. About to end the show. Tempedan 918. Thank you for the biddies. Much appreciated on that. Cheering 100 bits. Let me go and look up these super chats so I can thank those who donated very kindly to the stream. We're doing it live. Trevor Watson, thank you so much. Saying that is so true. Yes, I'm not sure what you're referring to, but thank you for the donation anyway. Sarchek says, Trump's silent majority is very loud. True. And again, thank you to Love, Aid, Hate. So thank you all. Love you guys and gals and everyone in between. Trans rights, all that wonderful stuff. And we will see you tomorrow. Stay safe, everybody. Love you. And remember, change begins with you. Good night, everybody.
Wet ass P-word.
Dumps. Big, massive dumps.
Wet ass P-word. There's some whores in this house.
Please clap. They're kicking me out the door. They're kicking me out the door.